Because no matter what your goal is, let's say your goal is to lose weight.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head what the exact figure is, but if you sleep deprive somebody for 1 year, they'll gain weight consistently across that year. Just purely, not like no change in nutrition, no change in training, anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just purely, all you're doing is changing their sleep. So if they get 8 hours, for a year you're going to give them 7 hours, they'll gain, I think it's between 5 and 6 kilos across a 12-month period, which is pretty significant just from that one factor.
Yeah. All right, welcome to the CrossFit by Design podcast. We're outside, which is a very nice change.
Yeah, nice weather.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you, Brennan?
Yeah, good. Good.
That is good. I'm glad you're good.
How are you?
I am also good, but
needs work.
more gooder.
Yeah, I'm doing better good than you.
Yeah. All right, so today we're going to talk about sleep. A very important topic, not something that we've covered before. Lots of people have talked about sleep, but that doesn't detract from the fact that it still needs to be talked about. So to kick
still know better.
Yeah. So to kick things off, why is sleep important? Maybe some of the ways it affects the body in general.
So the best way to think of it would be, and this is a pretty general way of thinking about it, but sleep makes you anabolic. So if you think of your body's in one of two states, anabolic and catabolic.
Mm-hmm.
Anabolic is the building and recovering, and catabolic, the way I remember it is like catabolic catastrophe. It's like the breakdown of everything.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like it's still a very important process, but you can't constantly be in that catabolic state. You can't constantly be breaking things down.
Okay.
So when you sleep, that's when you rebuild everything. So memories throughout the day, muscle growth from training, you name it, absolutely everything. From learning through to training, everything.
So
Can't be understated.
Legal steroids kind of thing.
Legal steroids, yeah. Damn, that's good.
Yeah.
I should have said that.
Okay. Now, sleep, I mean, especially in the Western culture, we know so many people, I'm busy. Oh, I'm busy. Oh, gee, I got the kids. I got this. Oh, no, I couldn't get much sleep. So we know a lot of people neglect sleep. I don't know many people who, it's like, oh yeah, I get 9 hours of sleep every night. Unless they just haven't got much on. But why is it so common for people to neglect sleep if it is so important?
I think we just don't value it. You know, time is money. I need to be up and doing all these things. And as a culture, it's like, if you're the person who says you got 9 hours, it's Tom's lazy, like he sleeps 9 hours. You know? And that's the perception.
Yeah.
That's what people think. It's like, well, if time is money, like you're never going to be going back to what we do when we sleep. Everything repairs and rebuilds.
Mm-hmm.
So the lessons you learn from whatever it was that you do for work that day are going to be cemented in your mind when you sleep. Therefore, you're going to be able to access them the next day if you've slept well.
Okay.
So if you're not getting that sleep portion, you're becoming a less productive member of your team. So if the whole time is money thing is true for you, the best thing you can do is get more sleep.
Get some sleep.
So optimize the time that you're actually working versus just doing more work. Quality, not quantity work.
Yeah. And it does seem to be a cultural thing, because now that I think about it, I know, say for instance, in Italian culture, it's have a nap in the afternoon. And so there's lots of different cultures place different values on sleep, which I guess is unfortunate, because if it was based on the truth of the value of sleep, then everyone should be getting more sleep. But it does seem to be a cultural aspect in that sense.
It's like, well, not only do we not value sleep, but we value not getting sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I only got 3 hours last night.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to conquer the world.
Got to grind. Like, I remember listening.
Like, man, that's hardcore.
Will I Am, the singer, because he does work for like Intel and all these different companies. He's got so many plates that he's spinning. And he's like, he gets 4 hours sleep every night. Arnold Schwarzenegger only got 6 hours sleep every night. And just all about the grind.
Didn't he have a heart attack?
Yeah. So what's the optimal way to sleep? So we're thinking about, if we value sleep, we know it's important. How do you? Is it as simple as just go to sleep? Like, what's the optimal way to sleep? Is there
So
ways?
there's a thing called sleep hygiene.
Yep.
So as in how to set up your room for sleep, so you can get the most out of your sleep, so the best quality of sleep. So it's things like making sure your room is dark and slightly cooler. No electronic devices in your room, so no like blinking lights from your phone or your computer or whatever.
Yep.
Speaking of those things, like avoiding them before you go to sleep, like a couple of hours before you go to sleep. I know you do that before you go to sleep. How many hours before you go to sleep?
I sort of have a rule where, let's say I'm aiming to go to bed by 9 o'clock, which, I totally do that every night. That's just I'm just perfect at that.
Yeah.
So I'd have like phone goes on airplane mode at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So you can go. That's having a routine is probably one of the best things you can do. So I set up my room and then I go through my routine at night. So my room is cold and dark, and then I go through my routine of I switch my screens off. I'm not having like massive meals right before I go to bed. That's the simplest thing you can do. We've put, if you want to delve deeper into it, we've put recently on our blog 8 tips for getting better sleep, and within that post has sleep hygiene. So ways to set up your room.
And I find a lot of people would want to read more books. Like, I should read more books. They got books they want to read. Just 15 minutes before you go to bed. Normally, I will read a book until I start to doze off, and then that'll be all right. That's the sign. Turn off the lights, finish the book, and then just go to bed. Like, that's a great way, because sometimes I'll be so just buzzed. Like, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm just zinging. I'm so awake. And then I'll read a book, and then 5 minutes later, I'm just starting to doze off. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
So in some people's lifestyles, it's just really, it actually is not feasible because of the things they've got in their life. Maybe they're a parent, in which case just kids are up at 2 in the morning. So sometimes getting all the optimal sleep, we'd love to get 8 to 9 hours sleep. We'd love to have all the right hygiene, but it's just not possible. So how can you kind of maximize what you can do or get the most out of a bad situation with regards to sleep?
Yeah, well, I think as long as you know that you're only ever going to optimize it to a certain extent, 2 plus 2 is always going to equal 4. So you can't change the equation because you don't get it, man. My situation is way different from your situation. There's no possible way I could do the things you're asking me to do. And, we could list 10 more things, like we spoke about before, in regards to sleep hygiene and everything else. And maybe you could supplement with melatonin, because it depends what your issue is as well. Like, do you not have, is it the window of time that you have, or is it you have a restless sleep? So there could be like 1,000,001 things that you need to fix, or that you're sort of dealing with on your own level. But you definitely need to get to that at least 8 hours sleep, because no matter what your goal is, let's say your goal is to lose weight. I can't remember off the top of my head what the exact figure is, but if you sleep deprive somebody for 1 year, they'll gain weight consistently across that year. Just purely, no change in nutrition, no change in training, anything like that. It's just purely, all you're doing is changing their sleep. So if they get 8 hours, for a year you're going to give them 7 hours, they'll gain, I think it's between 5 and 6 kilos across a 12-month period, which is pretty significant just from that one factor. So if you are thinking in terms of, let's say in your scenario, I sleep solid for 7 hours, but I know I need 8, so you're getting into, a good sleep pattern, you're going through your sleep cycles, but you just don't have the 8 hours. Just know that no matter what you do, it's never going to be as good as just getting that extra hour. Sorry. There's certain things you can do to create what they call sleep pressure. So let's say you're on the other side of it, which is you have the 8 hours, but you're not sleeping through.
Yep.
So you're not getting solid sleep through the 8 hours.
It's on and off.
Yeah, so things like high intensity training and hypertrophy, so muscle growth, create what's called sleep pressure, which is basically your head hits the pillow and you're just out.
Yep.
So having more muscle mass helps with things like that, as well as high intensity training. So you've gone through that high intensity interval throughout the day, like high stress within the training within a short period of time.
Yep.
Really good for sleep pressure. So probably not the answer you're looking for. But yeah.
But I guess it brings it back to we can't lower the bar for you just because of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Sure, you might not be able to get 8 hours because you've got 17 kids and you're up every 15 minutes looking after them during the night, but the fact still remains, just got to try and get more sleep. And to do that, you just got to place more value on it. There are other things we can do CrossFit, high intensity exercise, eat well, all those things add up, but it seems like just you've got to value it. And so if that means you have to shift things around your life, then do so. Then yeah.
No, that's spot on. It's absolutely, it's sorry you have these kids there's just no way around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's about it for today. So
yeah, awesome.
Let's go get some sleep.
Yeah. Nice.
Probably not. It's only 1 o'clock.